Hello and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel once a week. It chooses the horror film and they discuss it. Today we're talking about 1986's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, which was directed by Tobe Hooper. I'm your co-host Alec.
I'm Eric, and with us is someone who brushes his teeth to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, James Boyland. James, welcome back to the show.
I thought it was Pet Sematary.
I know, I had to do it again.
This isn't Pet Sematary 3.
I'm just imagining you have like multiple TVs going with multiple movies you're brushing your teeth to.
Pet Sematary, Texas Chainsaw, and John Wick all at the same time.
Oh my God. Welcome back, James. How you doing, man?
Been great. I know. Last time it was like 3 years. Now it's been like a month. It's crazy.
That's cool. I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Well, you had said that you like absolutely like love this movie, right? Like this is one of your favorite horror films?
The first Texas Chainsaw is my favorite horror movie ever, and I think it's probably the best. But also Texas Chainsaw 2 is another level of awesome that I love, and it's the same director, so it makes me love it equally. It's just great.
Yeah. We did cover the first one. God, it was in our top. It was our original 31, Eric.
Yeah, it was with Joey, and we talked a lot about like how the shooting in that one scene with at the end the dinner scene was like brutally hot. It was like the hottest summer ever.
Yeah, and it was all the food was rotting, right? Like I heard it smelled bad from when I read that line because it was just rotting the whole time.
Yeah, just miserable.
Yeah, that's one of those movies that you can smell it through the screen. Like it's just you're like sweating when you're watching it.
I know too. The lead actor who played Leatherface didn't shower like at all.
Hunter Hansen.
Yeah, so he's just smelled bad. All the food smelled bad. Everything is just rotting.
It's miserable. It's like being on a bus in Las Vegas. Like,
yeah.
So I've seen this movie. I've seen most of them, I think. What's your experience with this, James? If you love the first one, I'm gonna assume you've seen the rest.
Yeah, well, sort of. I've seen this one actually in theater, which was great.
This one, oh.
Yeah, about like 5 years ago, actually probably more now. Fuck, like 7. But this theater by my hometown called the Cinema Arts Center in Long Island, they did a double feature. It was this and Motel Hell. I don't know if you ever seen that.
No.
Classic, also kind of same vibe kind of movie. But yeah, I remember seeing it for the first time and I never saw it, and it was just so wacky and crazy. And then it made me want to go watch all the other sequels. But like honestly, I can't do it. Like I try to watch 3, just like I don't want to do it no more. Then I would try to get into the remake, and I got like halfway through it, and I was like, these all the sequels just can't live up to the original, and they just somehow just get worse. And I think it becomes a thing where like whoever's making it now is like, oh, it's a slasher, crazy, bloody movie. And to me, Texas Chainsaw, as bloody as it is, I mean, it's really not that bloody of a thing. You know what I mean?
This one, it was gory. This one was way gorier, but like in a campy way.
What's your experience, Eric? What's your Texas Chainsaw Massacre experience?
I'm gonna be I thought this was gonna be the McConaughey one. I didn't know this. Like I saw the first one a ton, and I think I always in my head thought the McConaughey one where like there's like a cross-dressing person in that one, and I was like, wait, that's not the same one, and this is the first time I've seen this, so I'm like, I'm blown away.
Yeah, no, I mean it's this one I think is probably like as James was saying, it's like the only one worth watching probably. I mean, they're pretty bad. The latest one came out in 2022, and that was kind of they did the Halloween thing where they just forget all of the sequels, jumped 40 years in the future. They bring back an original from the original film or the character.
They
at least.
Literally do Halloween. Like they just do the same thing except make it dumber somehow.
It was very bad. Yeah.
You see the prequel movie they did in like 2017? It's just called Leatherface.
I did, yeah, where they kind of like trick you into thinking it's like that big kid the whole time, and then you're like, wait, Leatherface is like a little kid? Like, what? No, I mean, Tobe Hooper is from Texas, and like the first one was such like a personal love letter of like his growing up, his area, all that stuff. And this one also has that same kind of feel to it. But once you lose Tobe Hooper and it just goes off the rails and they're just like, let's give it the Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween treatment, then it really loses it, because this one kind of ends so like it gives it such a good finale that you're like, how the fuck can they make a third one after that and a fourth one?
Yeah.
This one's a lot more funny and satirical.
What's with the 80s and willing, like they just made all their sequels just, satirical and funny. Like Gremlins 2,
right?
Texas Chainsaw, Pet Sematary, Psycho 2.
Yeah, And this one, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the poster. It's literally they do the Breakfast Club
Yeah.
poster
Oh
of them like
yeah.
sitting.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh, this movie is not going to be like the original at all, which is I give it respect for like doing something completely different. No one wants like a cookie cutter movie, which a lot of these were. So
I'm just imagining you seeing the poster, you're like, wait, is that the fucking
wait,
Breakfast
is this the
Club?
Matthew McConaughey one? No, it was
This
not. It
is
doesn't. Nothing adds up.
this is after Evil Dead 2, right?
No, this is before Evil Dead 2, so it's the year before Evil Dead 2. So
Wow.
Dennis Hopper had a hell of a year. He had this and Blue Velvet. So I don't know what his agents were like doing at the time.
What came out first? Did this come out first or Blue Velvet? He probably was shooting around the same time though, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if they came out in the same year, for sure. I don't know which one came out first though. But this did come out before Evil Dead 2, which is kind of funny because yeah, a lot of the chainsaw stuff, like the shit that Dennis Hopper says is like, boys, boys, boys. I was like, dude, this is kind of reminding me of Evil Dead 2 a little bit.
I guess this must have been the start then of the goofy sequel trend. They had to have been.
Huh. Okay, so Psycho 2 came out in 83, but that's
I
not
agree.
really
Yeah.
goofy though.
That's not as bad as this. That one's at least tries to be serious when it's hard to.
That's not goofy at all, I don't think. I think you're right though, James. I can't think of a sequel that has come out, yeah, that just totally changes tone with having the same director. But yeah, you're right, Eric. Like, would it have been because they try to do that with the third, fourth, and fifth one, just do a remake of the original one, basically, and it never works. So this one, it's different. I mean, it's such a good like shepherd into the 80s because in the 70s you've got these like hippies and like it's
Yeah.
very of the time. And then this one, it's got the 80s greed Wall Street yuppies guys like on their cell phones. I'm like, this I like this. I like the progression.
Yeah, what are like awful human beings to open up the movie with
I
just
know.
those like horrible like people. Well, these dudes just drive around all day and just shoot guns and just like call people.
It makes you excited for when they die, which they
Yeah.
definitely do. Holy crap, what a scene.
So
One thing I didn't get, maybe you guys can explain to me. So they call up the radio station and the girl is just like, you guys got to hang up the phone. She can't hang up on her end.
I know.
There has to be a dump button.
There has to be. There's no way phone calls work one way.
Otherwise, I'd just take it over the radio station and be like, hey, it's my show now.
Yeah.
That's what they did pretty much. It's like, leave me alone. I'm trying to do my show.
Once you figure that out once, yeah, like you would just never stop. You would just keep calling and be like, yeah, exactly, Eric, like my show now.
But like also her name was what was it, Stretch or
Stretch.
what? Why? Like where did that like she's gonna be like a really pretty girl who runs a radio and we're gonna call her Stretch, like the Casper of the Ghost.
No, she's tall. Eric, really quick, I'll beep her name out, but didn't she look like
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
girl we grew up with, James.
Okay.
Very thin, very thin, very
Yes.
yeah. Very pretty though. I don't know if to keep that.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just do it all the time.
Yeah.
No, but she's like I would Stretch. I don't know. It just like threw me off. Like that's the name you're gonna give this character. I don't know.
Dude, everybody's got a weird name. Shock Top, Lefty, Stretch. Like, that's part of the fun, Eric.
What did they call Leatherface? Leatherface was Gunner? No, it was
Bubba.
Bubba, right? What? They're
Yeah.
gonna call Leatherface. It just takes the seriousness out of him. I don't know.
Well, they do call him Leatherface in this movie, and I don't remember them calling him actually Leatherface in the first movie.
No, and it's not Gunnar Hansen, right? It's some other guy.
Yeah.
No, there was a contract issue, I guess, the production company.
I can see that. Yeah.
And this is almost, 10 years after the first one. I think the first one was 74. So it's a long
Yeah.
time to make a sequel.
12 years. And
Yeah.
and I'd seen a couple of Tobe Hooper's movies in between. I'm sure you guys have seen Poltergeist, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, if you think it's directed by Tobe Hooper.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, everybody's the Spielberg conspiracy. But he also did a movie called Funhouse in 1981, which I watched, and it's actually pretty good, dude. If you guys like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one, you might want to check that one out. It's almost like Texas Chainsaw Massacre at a carnival.
Did you ever do that one on the wheel without me?
We did, Joe and I did, yeah.
Oh, I'm just curious. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a guy with a mask, and basically he like stays in the basement of this carnival, and these teens are like, "Let's spend the night here drunk," and then he just like fucks with them. It's a lot like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's directed by Tobe Hooper, but it has that grit to it, like the
Oh, hell yeah.
same feeling as the original Texas, where this one definitely feels like there's a budget, like there's so many extras and there's all these locations and stuff. So it's a different movie. And that's not a bad thing, but it just feels different.
One thing real quick, going all the way back to the very first beginning with the title card, and it's like the woman who survives the first one apparently told the authorities everything and then went catatonic, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and then they can't find this family, period. The Sawyer family, we can't find them.
They ran away.
I'm like, what do you mean you can't find them? Like, what about the truck driver and the other guy who ran away? Remember, there's two guys. There's the guy who picked her up, and there's the other guy who drives like the 18-wheeler, and he just bolts. He probably died.
Well, they left. This doesn't take place in the same area, so
I know, but like, why couldn't they even find the farm though? That's what it said too, right?
Maybe they burned it down.
I don't know. Something didn't add up. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Off the bat.
I like that though, because it kind of makes you fill it in, like, and it's also, this is a little weird. This jumps very far to the end, but Franklin is, the guy in the wheelchair from the first one who gets killed. So that's implying that they took his body and brought it to this new location. Like, you make sure you load that truck up good. You load that truck up with all of them.
So not only did they bring the body, but they brought his wheelchair and flashlight too.
Yeah. And he's like, make sure you change that battery out. It still works 12 years later.
Just somehow dies right when Dennis Hopper, and I guess they're brothers, right? He says like brother.
It's his nephew. So that's Sally and Franklin's uncle, who's like, I'm here to get revenge for the people that killed my nephew.
And the girl who survives is his niece.
Yeah. Yes,
right?
Yeah.
Also, the fact that Bill Moseley wasn't even in the first movie, but I guess he's been a part of this family.
Well, okay, so I think I figured that out. So he keeps mentioning Vietnam, right? Right?
Oh.
He's like the Nam song with like the whatever canon he has at the end. Nam song.
Dude, he mentions Vietnam a few times in this movie, so I think he was in Vietnam during the first movie because that takes place in 1974. So I bet he was still in Vietnam.
Interesting. Imagine that fucking dude. That's probably why he has a plate on his head.
How the hell did he get to Vietnam?
He probably got drafted.
Who let him into Nam?
Yeah.
Like even if you get drafted, that guy's not going.
Well,
I mean, maybe afterwards his brain got hit in the head, and he has that metal plate now, right?
Yeah, so maybe it was Nam that made him all fucking crazy. Maybe he was like a normal family member.
You have that family plus Nam, you're coming back a cuckoo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, well, they needed to bring more people in because it would be lame if it was just the dad and Leatherface,
and Grandpa, can't forget Grandpa.
Dude, I love that they say it's like he's 137 years old. Like he's a good liquid diet. It's like that's what keeps him fresh. Like all this stuff, dude. That guy is my favorite part of the whole movie. The Jim Sedow character, the father.
Oh, he's great, and he's the same actor, right?
Yeah, it's the same actor from both of them. He hasn't really done like anything else. It's kind of interesting, but I thought he just nailed this role. Like he's such a guy that. He seems like he just lives by his own rules, and he just says the weirdest things. Like when Dennis Hopper walks into their house, he's like, "This is not how you enter the house of an American citizen." It's like, what are you talking about? Like, what logic do you live by? What are your rules, man? You're a cannibal.
He's like a deranged Ernest of that. Like,
when the chick's playing like the killing sounds on the radio or whatever. And then, he's on the phone with his kids and he's just like, what are you doing? You fudge packing? What,
Yeah.
And just starts saying the most random fucking words I couldn't even describe.
He is such a character. I absolutely love him. So happy they brought him back.
Yeah. When he gets stabbed in the butt at the end too. And he's just like, man, this is how, everyone's always trying to bang the little guy in the ass or whatever.
He's like, that's pretty bad. He's just like, oh, they burned my beans bad this time. Like, whatever. What are you talking about? Like his dick is chopped up by a chainsaw. All right, so let's walk through the plot a little bit here. We talked about the intro with the scrolling text that basically explains what happened in between. It's 12 years later. We get some yuppies driving through Texas, and then they're harassing this radio station also in Texas. And that's where we meet our lead character, Stretch, and she's the radio DJ. But then we also get these yuppies who are about to get attacked by a pickup truck.
Well, they did run off the pickup truck off the road.
Because they messed with the pickup truck, right? They were doing some chicken with it. which is like
Oh,
that's the last person you want to play chicken with.
that wasn't them, was it?
Oh, I thought it was. I thought that was the same truck.
Yeah, it's the same truck.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was if that's the same truck, then absolutely those guys deserve to die. It's like you're gonna fuck with these guys?
You just think they just showed up on the side of the road, like with the chainsaw and everything, and the dead body.
What I thought was the farmer was just a random farmer that they were just fucking with because they could, and then Tex or Leatherface and that family or whatever, they're just patrolling the highways looking for people to kill. That's what I thought.
No, I think they messed with them once.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah. So they fuck with the Sawyers, and then the Sawyers fuck with them. And I thought that, dude, it's pretty scary that first scene. Like they're driving like 90 miles an hour. First of all, the Sawyer family's going backwards on the highway, so they're driving backwards while the other car's going forward. Leatherface is on top of it with a dead body in front of him, just waving it around like a psychopath. That scene's fucking scary, dude.
And that's supposed to be the hitchhiker from the first one.
Is it?
I don't know.
That's what I read. That's what's his name, Chop Shot or whatever, the guy with the metal plate. That's his twin brother is the hitchhiker, and that's why he's so similar to him. I had to read this stuff too. I couldn't just figure this out.
But I love that because he has like the dead body and he's just like dancing with it and they're like freaking out.
That's his brother. That's his brother. He's with. Remember his brother got hit by the truck at the end and cut in half?
Yeah.
That's his half brother right there. Literally half.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder how they shot that. Like, I wonder if they had both cars on like the same rig and they're just like pulling it.
Probably.
Yeah. It would have been so dangerous.
Very unsafe no matter what.
Oh, Eric, you might find this interesting. The stunt double that was doing that scene as Leatherface, he's actually been the stunt double for Jason and Michael Myers. So he's been the stunt double for all three. Yeah, which is kind of cool. Like
that's a resume.
Right?
Shout out to stunt doubles. I'm getting no credit.
I know, right?
Speaking of stunt doubles too, there's like you can clearly see Dennis Hopper stunt double all the time.
Yeah, I caught it too. But yeah, you let it go. He's not gonna do all that shit.
I mean, he's only like 50 in this movie, and like he looks like an 80-year-old. Like he looks a lot older. Dude, he's younger than my dad right now.
Sometimes the stunt double too like doesn't have gray hair. Like it cuts to the wide, you see like Dennis Hopper with black hair, then it's close up and he's got gray hair.
But basically, the radio station is listening into this whole interaction with the guys on the highway and the fighting going on, and she's recording it and listening, and she can't hang up the phone. And then we get to meet Dennis Hopper. Oh, they die, obviously. Yeah, obviously, they kill him.
Obviously, yeah, with his head chopped off, squirting everywhere.
Yeah, he chainsaws the guy's head off.
That always feels so trauma to me, just like this classic 80s where there's just like a fake prosthetic like neck, and then there's just hands like trying to grab a head that's not there and blood just like squirting out.
I know. I'm trying to imagine, like, I'm sure a head getting cut off. Like, maybe your body would naturally be like, where is it? Like, that's the last thing.
Yeah, where's my head?
It just reaches.
That was really, really cool, though. I like how they did that.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, and that whole thing gives it away to Dennis Hopper's character, Lefty, who's just like, you think that a crash would just, like, put a chainsaw through his head or whatever? So, yeah, so he is able to basically figure out. I mean, I guess he's been trailing them for 12 years and somehow never found him, but now he did for some reason.
I mean, they don't hide that well.
No, not at all. They're doing chili contests.
Yeah.
Like, they don't give a shit, Like, I guess, like, that right after the first movie, they're like, we better go.
Well, never mind. I mean, like, I've heard this is, I mean, if you guys can correct me either, but, like, I've heard that's, like, kind of a true story. There's, like, this dude in, like, Canada who was, like, grinding people up and selling them, like, there was chili and stuff.
A man witch?
Yeah, literally.
This character is based on a lot of people. I think Ed Gein or whatever is the main one because he would use skin to make lamps and stuff. But it's not one thing. I think they really leaned into that, like based on a true story. Like this family exists, and it's like a combination of a bunch of things serial killers have done.
Yeah, with that Jeffrey Dahmer documentary, he was like, "Eat the sandwich." It's like, I'm not eating your sandwich, dude. Like, no. Like that scene is so crazy.
So these guys, yeah, they are serial killers. They're cannibals. I mean, and they're just, yeah, I mean, they're disgusting.
They're just disgusting.
But basically, Lefty, Dennis Hopper figures out, like, okay, like they're definitely in this area now. He then somehow comes into contact with Stretch, the radio DJ. I can't remember how.
But she goes up to him, doesn't she? I think she like visits him somewhere.
Yeah, but why? How
That I don't remember.
yeah,
She found it. She read something in the newspaper. She was looking up, like, she was doing some research with that radio call.
He was on the news, right? What news thing?
yeah.
Then she like made the connection, and she looked up some newspapers, and then found Dennis. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Right. And basically, we also forgot to mention this whole weekend, there's some like football game or something going on. So, like, there's a big party
Yeah, what did they
atmosphere.
say? The Cotton Bowl or Orange? But they said it's a huge like college football game. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's a shit ton of partying going on, and people are just getting drunk and being rowdy. And I guess that's also why the Chili Festival is going on.
After all great horror movies start.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
The cops got too much on their hands already.
Right. A really stupid, fucking stupid thing. But why would isn't chili like a big deal in Texas? That's like a thing, right?
I mean, I've been to Texas once.
No, I haven't either. I'm basing this solely on stereotypes, but I feel like Texas chili is a thing, and this is supposed to be like a Texas chili festival or whatever. But it's Oklahoma and Texas together.
Yeah, that's the two football game. People, then it's Oklahoma versus Texas.
So they're like, while our football teams are fighting, our chili is also being compared. Like that's
Exactly.
oh
Yes.
my God, what else is going on in this fucking town? All right, okay, all right. So that's it. It's a
I mean, it sounds pretty cool. I don't know why you hate it. Chilean football sounds like fun, Alec. I don't know.
I no, I'm just saying that I thought that Texas wouldn't need to combine states, to have like a competition. I thought it would just be like within Texas because it's such like a thing. I don't know.
It's a religion. It's not a thing. It's a religion. For Texas is like we believe in Christ, football, and chili, and that's it.
What about barbecue?
Yeah, that's goes hand in hand with barbecue with chili.
All right. What about the Alamo?
I'm pretty sure Alabama, like you go down there and you like hold the door for someone and they go roll tide, and like that's how they talk down there, like for like the Alabama football.
Well, yeah. So there's this rowdiness in the air, and yeah. So Stretch basically goes to tell Dennis Hopper like I found these guys, and she's like okay, and he gives her the tape and all that stuff. And then what happens? The Chili Festival, which we basically just talked about. So we get to see that the Sawyers are active. They're making chili. They're feeding it to people. They win first place, and there's bones in the chili. And there's like they're feeding it to people.
Yeah, and he wins, and he's like, "You can't skimp on the meat. That's the secret," or something like that. It's like, oh God.
And such a good foreshadowing. I mean, for her to like hang out with him for that bit and her to be like, oh, this is the worst. I don't want to do this. I want to go back to the radio. I want to be a real journalist while she's interviewing the actual murderer.
Right. Yeah, she's not even aware of it. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, and then she's you're definitely gonna get to know him soon. But yes, so basically, they play the radio, the tape on the radio so that everybody can hear it and everybody can know what's going on. And then Leatherface and all of them hear it. Which is kind of crazy. It's like, you guys monitoring the radio? You listening all the time in case something happens? Like they're talking about us? Like, I don't know. So they're always paying attention for media reach out for them, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. If I'm the serial killer cannibal, I should be listening, right? To see if I left any clues or anything out there.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. I feel like these guys don't even have a TV. I feel like they're not like checking in too
It
often.
doesn't look like they had a TV when you go to their actual crib. Like,
Right.
I don't see any electricity at all, like besides, I guess, some lamps.
Yeah, they had like a generator and like chicken bones on the floor. You're like, these people don't listen on the radio. But anyways, yeah. So then they get into they storm the radio station. So they're like, all right, we got to go steal this tape and fuck her up. Yeah.
Such a good intro for fucking Shock Top. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so sick. He's just on the couch looking like a hippie with this like awful wig on, but then his face is like super pale. But then the lights are super trippy too. They're super red and then there's like a lamp that's like spinning different colors and stuff. And she just walks into it. It's like if I walked into that, I wouldn't know how to react immediately.
No way, dude. You'd be like, who are you? And he's just like, hi there. And he's like a fucking psychopath.
And he's like picking his head with a coal hanger. It's like, ugh, and licking
He's
it.
eating it.
Oh.
It's like Goldfinger, the guy from Goldfinger, or whatever.
Really quick, I'll tell you guys, I don't know if you heard about this. The reason that Bill Moseley got this role is because he loved the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre so much. He made his own like indie film version of it called Texas Chainsaw Manicure, and it was like a spoof. And Toby Hooper actually saw it, and he plays the hitchhiker. Bill Moseley plays the hitchhiker in this spoof, and he was just like, dude, you like nailed that. So then he put him in this. And then it's actually crazy. Bill Moseley also does in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game. He does the voices of Jim Cedo, like the share or the dad or whatever.
Oh wow!
So he's like he's big in this
And
series.
he's in all the Rob Zombie ripoff Texas Chainsaw movies, the House of Thousand Corpses stuff. So
yeah, he's the Firefly guy. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so he's definitely into this kind of stuff.
Hopefully not too much, Hopefully there's a kayfabe there.
Yeah. Yeah, so Shock Top, dude, his intro is great. What I thought you were gonna say was
it's not Shock Top, it's Chop
Chop Top.
Chop Top.
I love the Shock Top though. It's funny.
That's
it's
a beer, right?
Yeah.
Shock Top.
Like what happened? Did his head get chopped by a helicopter? That's what like I'm picturing. Like his head got clipped by a helicopter or something. Because Chop Top, that was my take. I don't know.
I mean, Vietnam, they all had those like tons of like hidden like shit, right? Like they would have like spikes you'd step on, like they would hit you in the face if you're in the jungle.
Well, something chopped his top off, and that's what they call him, Chop Top. I think it's funny.
Yeah, no, they do. He's a great character, but I love the intro of Leatherface, dude. When he's like, what's in there? And he opens it, he's like, this is the vault, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, the oldies, and turns it on. He just storms.
That was
cool. First.
Yeah, that's how you get the theater. Like, yeah, now we're going.
Yeah, because I mean, after the first kill, it's pretty slow for a second, and it's like, okay, like what are we doing? What's kind of going on? And then it's like you're in, boom. He just comes through, chainsaw, sparks flying everywhere. Bill Moseley's just cheering and yelling shit.
And she gets away. I mean, she actually puts up a fight. They steal her like partner LG. They take him. And then she escapes, but then she's like, I'm going to go chase them with no weapon.
Well, Leatherface lets her escape because he kind of crushed.
She like King Kong's his ass. Like, oh, dude, I'm your lady. And like kind of seduces him. And he does all that crazy dancing. And I was like, what is going on?
This is my favorite shot in the movie, besides later with the grandma. This is my favorite shot where it's like she's on the tub, right? The ice beer tub, whatever, and it's a low angle. Her legs are spread, so you see her like full legs and thighs, and then you see like fucking Leatherface lift up his chainsaw like perfectly in the frame, like in between her crotch.
Yeah. Like his like it's his erection is that chainsaw. Yeah. It's ridiculous. It was uncomfortable. Not gonna lie.
I know
for everyone. Like I can't even imagine being on set and being like, "Oh, this is not the Texas Chainsaw Massacre."
This is not what I thought this movie was.
Yeah, they definitely play that angle pretty hard. And you're also like, so what was wrong with all the other girls in the first movie? He didn't like them. He's like, he only likes Stretch, but
yeah, she's got the legs.
I know. I guess so. He knows what he likes.
I do like the idea that she King Konged him. Like that's hilarious. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, but he lets her go and pretty much tells his brother like, oh, I killed her, and then like they go off. She follows them. Where are we next?
Well, it's crazy that she's like, I don't have any weapons, but she's like, cool, I got this.
Also, she had no weapons, but if you noticed when she was driving off, there was a sign behind her that says gun shop.
And she's like, I don't need it. It's Texas. Like I'm it'll be hard to get one.
Yeah. It'd be so hard to get one in Texas.
Before we get to the finale here, I love the scene of Dennis Hopper getting the chainsaws and like that guy like freaking out about him cutting that wood out front. Like he's like, I'm freaking out. Like it's in slow motion. That was so bizarre, but I loved it.
Loved it, and I love the dual wielding like chainsaw, like the two pistols kind of look. It was cool. It was really cool.
Dude, yeah, it was great. He's got a cowboy hat on,
Epic.
All these chainsaws, yeah. So then it gets to the end. Stretch goes to their little compound, which is like a weird amusement park kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder where they found this place. Or they must have built something, but it's just so huge. Like that must have cost a lot of money to make.
Tunnels and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the house from House of a Thousand Corpses. Like there's so much underground shit, and you never know where you're gonna end up. So
yeah, like when Dennis Hooper like sees the wall bleeding and he cuts it, and then just like guts just pour out of the wall.
Yeah, what the hell? Like they're like, we don't need refrigeration, just stuff it in the wall. It's like what? So gross, dude. Yeah, but basically she falls down a pit and she finds LG, and Leatherface cuts off LG's face and his legs and all this shit, puts it on the girl Stretch, and LG's still alive. And I was like, God damn it, man. I hated watching that.
And like honestly, that's kind of a smart thing like makeup wise, when they cut around the dude's face, they cut around his eyes.
Yeah.
So then we have the actual actor, you can keep his eyes and not have to make it look weird, you know?
I noticed that too. Yeah, because they kind of do they do a better job, I think, in Hellraiser, but this looked good. This looked really good too.
I think Tom Savini did all these.
He did. Yeah, he did do this one, which is nuts. He's so fucking talented. It's insane.
Yeah, like I don't know how he comes up with all, like, even the first guys that get killed with the head falling off. Like, it's like, how do you like practically do that effect? It's amazing.
Yeah, he's a true artist with that stuff. It's incredible. But yeah, I mean, the final scene, I like it, but I mean, I gotta say, like, Dennis Hopper with these chainsaws just screaming and cutting down support beams. Like, how big is this fucking place? They don't hear that at all?
At all? Yeah, and it doesn't look like he's doing anything.
Yeah, he cuts down like 11 of them. There's that one scene where they're like, this is what happens, you idiot.
Yeah. And they were like, oh, and they start saying some shit. They blame her for like, but yeah, but I mean, but he's just cutting off beams and it just seems like nothing is being affected at all.
And they don't hear him. Yeah. No. So then they basically reenact the end of the first movie where they just have a dinner scene and, you know, they bring Grandpa out.
And then Grandpa.
Yeah.
Well, that's the funny part is like, no way is this guy alive this many years, and they wheel his ass out, and that's like doubling down. It's like, this is funny, this is insane. And he's doing the hammer thing again, and it's insane.
Yeah. They pretty much do that in every single one of these. They do it in the third one and the fourth one. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, you know, so the ending's a little crazy. Dennis Hopper's fighting all of them. A grenade goes off, and also he's stabbed.
Well, first of all, they have a lightsaber with chainsaw fight.
Yeah,
the chainsaw fight's awesome.
That was cool. And then, sorry, Jeff, you go.
I was just saying, like, at the moment to me where it gets like crazy, you know, that's when they're like, we're just not going the original Texas Chainsaw. We're having a full on, you know, chainsaw battle.
No, yeah, it's true though. Yeah, they just it's a Star Wars battle. You're right, Eric. Yeah, and then the final battle is between Stretch and Shop Top and Chop Top.
Well, first of all, someone grabs a grenade from something and blows up the whole family.
Yeah.
So Dennis is dead. It's all off screen. It sucked, right? The off screen stuff. Yeah. But like, you get that they're dead. There's no way you're surviving a grenade within 5 feet of you.
I actually rewatched it. I was like, did he just die? And I went back and had to rewatch the end again.
And there's no way the dad's survived because he just got cut up through his legs pretty much. He's going to bleed out.
Leatherface had a chainsaw just stuck in his stomach.
Yeah, he's dead. Dennis Hopper's dead. Maybe Dennis survived. Who knows? But yeah, and then the final scene with Chop Top. Yeah.
Watch the third one.
I can't even imagine. Keep going.
But yeah, the grandma at the very end, you're like, okay, so Jesus Christ, they're bringing everybody. Franklin, the grandma, everybody's coming along.
They climb this like Rapunzel cavern cave or whatever up to the top of the hill, and there's like a shrine. It's like, didn't they just like move? So they like found, like, I don't know. To me, it was wild.
Also electrocutes his head, which I also love, like the middle part in his skull.
Yeah, that was so sick. That was great.
But the grandma shot's my actual favorite shot in all this. I love it. It's just such a like weird. So she's like blue and like looks like a ghost skeleton thing.
Yeah, it's like Psycho.
Well, first of all, that dance at the end when she does the same dance that the ritual thing, that was hilarious. But anyway, we're spinning the wheel. Spinning. Okay. Don't worry, darling.
Perfect. James, thank you so much for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Thank you.
We'll get you on again in the future.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be 3 years.
No, it'll be soon again. And thank you, everybody, for listening in. We'll see you all next week with Don't Worry, Darling.